boys, today we are answering a very important question. What is the most ludicrously fast motorcycle that you can comfortably ride to work, to the grocery store, and of course to your buddy's mom's house while her husband is out of town for work? Of course, you can get any liter bike piss missile and daily that around, but what if you could go fast and not need an Epsom salt bath at the end of the day? As my gift to you, I have compiled 10 of the fastest motorcycles you can legitimately daily ride. Speed's not just for the racetrack anymore. It's for 8 a.m. in the HOV lane. We're talking about bikes that can rip 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds while you haul groceries, a backpack, and 30 years of compounding existential dread. Let's get into it. Back in the 70s, the H2 was a motorcycle you would ride if you wanted to find yourself in an early grave. But today, Kawasaki's supercharged 4-cylinder motorcycles are how you show up early to your 9 a.m. meeting with the HR department. The fully fared H2 might exist solely to satisfy the needs of Instagram clout goblins or those online whales with engorged crypto wallets. But the ZH2 is a motorcycle that I truly believe can be dailied by the most corporate of Kyles who want a blend of chaos and comfort. This hyper-naked motorcycle has a supercharged 999cc inline-4 engine producing 197 horsepower and 101 stonkin' Torginos. It's got cruise control, plenty of life-saving tech, and a sound that is more like a banshee huffed a paper bag full of spray paint. Sure, it's a little portly, coming in at well over 500 pounds, but if it was any lighter, it would probably just take off into space as soon as the tachometer reached the upper end of the register. But with its more upright and agreeable ergonomics, the ZH2 can absolutely rip back from your commute from work, and you can still make it home in time to explain to your HOA why your front driveway is covered in skid marks. Now look, if you've settled into your golden years and you're ready to just go off into that big sunset and listen to the siren call and get a BMW GS, that's okay, but I think you can do a little bit better. You can stay young at heart and buy BMW's absolutely coked out S1000 XR. BMW basically just took the engine from an S1000RR, slapped a windshield and some handlebars on this thing, and called it a sport touring model. The German Gixxer engine found in the S1000 XR is good for 165 ponies and 84 foot-pounds of torque. And like any good fixture of German engineering, BMW found a way to squeeze every last drop of character directly out of this machine. But what it lacks in charm, it makes up for in ease of use. There's a reason that only a small fraction of 22-year-olds with S1000RRs don't make it to their 23rd birthdays. The platform's just really easy to ride, doing most of the hard work for you. What, you thought you were talented enough to wrangle 165 ponies? I don't think so. While this might not be ideal for a rider who wants a raucous, rowdy, crazy steed, this really does make the most sense for the rider that wants just gobs of infinite amounts of power and to just ride around every day. If the GS is the BMW for your midlife crisis, the S1000 XR is for riders who refuse to act their own age. BMW S1000 XR. If Arrested Development had a motorcycle, this would be it. And if the S1000 XR isn't refined enough for your everyday motorcycle predilections, may I introduce you to the next refrigerator on wheels on the list today, the Ducati Multistrada V4S. The Multistrada is yet another one of those motorcycles that is so polished, so refined, so easy to ride that the disconnect between man and machine causes it to feel a little bit more like an appliance and less like a hot-blooded Ducati. But that's not to say it doesn't make an ultra spicy 170 horsepower and 92 foot-pounds of tortellini soup. And with that much power on a 550-pound touring chassis, you're gonna want some electronics and creature comforts, right? With everything from lean-sensitive ABS to radar-equipped cruise control, it's almost like Ducati's lead designers extorted the help of a wine-drunk NASA engineer who happened to be vacationing in Bologna. Whether you're going to Starbucks for a lunch break or the top of Pikes Peak to get away from the ball and chain and kids, the Multistrada is going to get you there in style and speed. That is, as long as you can stomach the $28,000 asking price for the base model. Your kids didn't need to go to college anyways, right? As a wise man once told me, F them kids. The KTM Super Duke GT is a motorcycle for orange bleeders who want to go beast mode in a business suit and rage responsibly. That was pulled straight from the KTM website. I'm not kidding. Go look it up. Or am I? I'm sure many of you can't even tell if I'm joking or not. Motorcycles from KTM are known for being aggressive, extreme, and prone to premature wear. What they're not known for is building sensible commuter bikes. And while the Super Duke GT is far from sensible, a KTM simp sometimes gotta go work a day job. I mean, it's hard to maintain a decent quality of life on amateur enduro race winnings alone. This bike uses a 1301cc V-twin motor making 175 horsepower and 106 foot-pounds of torque. The big brains in the boardroom basically said, what if we took a Super Duke R, put cruise control and panniers on it, and sold it as a sport touring model? Perhaps it wasn't the most bold representation of creative ingenuity in the two-wheeled world, but sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know? It's sort of like installing a cup holder on a chainsaw. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but maybe it also kind of does. For this next motorcycle, let's throw commuter sensible daily rider out of the window and think about a different sort of motorcyclist. A daily that's suitable for perhaps the more degenerate riders out there. This is a bike that can handle daily highway roll races, daily trips to your baby mama's house to borrow a few $100s, a daily trip to the gentleman's club where you can take pictures of your bike parked outside and upload them to Facebook in 300 pixel resolution. I'm of course talking about the Hayabusa, baby. The Busa is the OG king of speed, but it also happens to have the ergonomics of a floor model desk chair from Ollie's Bargain Outlet. That is to say, for the motorcycling world, it's quite comfortable. Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. They all make about 175 to 195 horsepower. Not too shabby for a grocery getter if you ask me. Oh, and the 100 foot-pounds of torque, it's not too bad either. The Busa is so comfortable that several police departments around the world have turned seized Hayabusas into police vehicles. Police Busas. I can see it now. Sir, do you know why I pulled you over today? The swing arm on your Gixxer is well below the legal length required to ride at 186 miles per hour on the freeway. Additionally, your LED underglow does not match the color of your anodized lever, so that's going to demand an additional penalty. Or hey, look, if you're just a giant baby and you're too afraid to grab life by the balls and daily ride a Hayabusa, Suzuki does make something else for all you namby-pambies out there, and that's going to be the GSX-S1000 GT. This bike is probably one of the most sensible bikes on the list today, but don't be fooled, it is about as fast as the name is long. Is the manager of Suzuki's branding and naming department getting paid by the character or something? I mean, this is ridiculous. Much like the S1000 XR, this bike is also powered by a K5 Gixxer motor, but it's not bogged down by all those pesky German electronics. It makes 150 horsepower and 78 foot-pounds of torque, and the best part, it only costs about 14,000 bucks. Not only is it a bike that's fast, comfortable, and versatile enough for the demands of your daily routine, it's also cheap enough that you won't care about it getting used and abused by the daily grind. Suzuki knows that basically every Busa owner will give up trying to rebuild their nuked Turbo Hayabusa, and they offer the GSX-S1000 GT Plus as a bit of a consolation prize. Street squids always gush over that top-end scream of an inline 4. But thanks to the cross-plane engine crank design, the MT-10 SP sounds more like a screaming baby gurgling on its own saliva. You don't have to be a new parent to know exactly the sound I'm talking about. Anyone who's been on an airplane knows just what I mean. But despite how I'm describing it in the current section of this video, the CP4 found in the 998cc configuration in this motorcycle is one of the best in the biz. And if you're in desperate need of that inline 4 feeling, the MT-10 SP is truly hard to beat. 160 horsepower, 82 foot-pounds of torque, semi-active Öhlins suspension, 6-axis IMU. I mean, what else do you really want? Plus, it has a little windscreen. It's practically a touring bike. Dailying an MT-10 SP is kind of like attack therapy. The engine screams at you, and then you scream inside your helmet when you realize you're going 70 over the speed limit, and then you do that a few times over and over until you feel better about your life choices. Or maybe you're a big tough guy with huge, bulging muscles. You gotta go to the gym, then you gotta go to the GNC to top up on your creatine, then you gotta go to the nightclub where you work as a bouncer. Those college kids with all their fake IDs aren't gonna bully themselves, you know. Well, what's the perfect bike for a person of this lifestyle? Well, the Ducati Diavel, of course. The Diavel is like if a naked bike made sweet, tender love to an armchair, but they were both first cousins, so the baby came out kind of weird looking. It's got an 1158cc V4 engine, a massive rear tire, and a quad tip exhaust that's gonna give anybody with trypophobia an extreme trip to the psych ward. It's stupid fast, surprisingly comfortable, and designed to appeal to men who still wear True Religion jeans and Ed Hardy t-shirts. And that's okay. Different strokes for different folks, am I right? Who am I to judge the predilections of the most engorged, muscle-bound motorcycle jocks among us who also happen to be first cousin babies? Or perhaps you're a Ducatiste of distinguished taste, a dignified DiGiorno dude, if you will. Then honestly, I would just daily a Streetfighter V4S if I wanted comfort, performance, and speed. Yeah, sure, it's a $30,000 motorcycle that's one genome away from being a race-winning superbike. But what did you think I was gonna say, Versys 1000? Is it your first day on this channel? Get out of here! This is Yami Noob! You know what we do here! The Streetfighter V4S makes 205 horsepower and 88 foot-pounds of torque, which I can only describe as perfectly adequate for the vast majority of motorcycle riders' daily needs. And in case some of you are mentally challenged, that was sarcasm. Oh man, I'm living in Austin. I gotta get to Dallas in 30 minutes. I gotta give my commute the old Jixer bra treatment so I get there in time. With all of its tech and high-end components, the V4S isn't just fighting the streets, it's annihilating your daily commute. And probably deep frying your nuts in the process. Once upon a time, Harley-Davidson's CEO was abducted by aliens and went missing for 3 whole days. When he came back, he was holding the blueprints to space-age technology that no one could even conceive of. Liquid cooling. Ooh, ah, oh. A few years later, the Pan America was born, and Harley-Davidson showed the world that at any moment that they choose, they can make a motorcycle that legitimately competes with the Japanese and European bikes of the world. Then they just never did that ever again. But for now, the Pan America and Pan America ST are in production, and who knows, maybe another boardroom coup will happen and we will get more interesting models out of the motor company. This bike is a 1250cc V-twin that produces 150 horsepower and 94 foot-pounds of torque. Which is crazy because normally you need to spend at least $15,000 to make any Harley-Davidson crate engine make anywhere near that kind of power. It's got comfortable ADV dad ergos, adventure bike tech, and looks that will make the boomers at the gas station say, "What in tarnation is that thing? I haven't seen Harley-Davidson make a dirt bike since the AMF years." Or you can get the ST and they'll just think it's a crotch rocket. Pick your poison, I guess. You made it to the end, my sweet special squids. What bike do you daily ride? Do you do a Kawasaki Ninja 300, a Hawk 250, maybe an MV Agusta Super Veloce Siri Oro? Let me know how important it is to you to go fast every single day on your daily commute. But be careful. You know what they say. Too much of a good thing can be a lot of fun. Stay safe and enjoy the ride. Fact. Ancient Greeks had a dislike for beans because they thought they contained the souls of the dead. Goodbye. But I'm actually still here because I don't want to scare you with the outros anymore. I know a lot of you commented, say you don't want me to yell to wake up anymore, So I'll just tell you calmly, click this link over here. Check out the next video. It's going to be good. I promise. Wake up, you're dreaming. Wake up. Wake up, you're dreaming. Michael.